Okay, I'm going to make a quick video tutorial to help you with your assignments this week. So I've gone ahead and loaded in our contour model that we used in the tutorial this week, and I've made a terrain out of it. So the next thing is to load in the Farnsworth model. So I'll just go to our file menu, import Farnsworth model.3ds and make sure that convert units is switched off. Hit OK and it loads it in. Now while everything's still selected, I just want to do an extra step because the model's been made in several different pieces and it can be a little bit tricky to move around. So I'm going to suggest that the first thing we do is go up to our group menu and just say group. Give it a name, I'll just call it house. Click OK. And now if we deselect it and then select it again, we go up to our move tool, we'll find that that all moves as one piece. And I think that's the easiest way for you to work with it. So you can move it and you can rotate it around and position it where you like on that slope. Okay. Now in the tutorial we gave you all the shapes that you used to work with, but obviously if you're going to be exploring your own designs you're going to have to create your own shapes. So I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit, click on my select object tool, and I'm just going to delete out that platform shape that we gave you and show you how you can make your own shapes. So just go back to the top viewport, zoom out a little bit, move across. To create a shape, simply go to your Create panel, and we've been working on the Object tab so far. If you just move across to it, there's one that says Shapes. Click on that, it turns blue, and we get all these shapes that we can make. I'm going to start just with the line tool. So click on that, and it turns blue to show that the Create line is active. The other way you can do that is go to your Create menu. So Create, go down to Shapes, and then you see that line is now ticked. It's showing that that's active. Alright, so I'll just get out of that. Just click over here. So once that tool is active, the line create tool, we can now just start clicking points to create a line. If you click back over your first point, it'll come up with this dialog box saying close spline, so we'll just say yes. Okay, so I've just made this shape. Just hit escape when you want to get out of that create mode, and you'll notice that that turns grey again. So I've created this shape, but it's really not much use to me at the moment. So if I want to go back and modify that, you just simply go to your Modify tab, click on that, and if we look down, we'll see there are these three red buttons that are your sub-object modes for your splines. So we've got Vertex, Segment, and Spline. If you just click on Vertex, you'll notice that all those points are now highlighted, and they're the only thing that we can select now. Everything else is unselectable. We're working at what's called sub-object mode. Now we can just move those points around. So if we go back to our Move tool, back down to our points, we can re-edit these. Now I've made a lot of them. If you need to delete some, you can simply hit delete and it'll get rid of them. Let's get rid of a few of ours. Okay. And when you've done editing, just click back on that button and we'll go back to normal object editing mode. So I can move that shape over to my Farnsworth model, zoom in a little bit. Now let's just edit it a bit to sort of create a bit of a platform around the house. Okay, so let's just say something like that. We'll just make it quite simple. Bring that one out here. we can position it where we want to create our cut and fill. If we look in our perspective viewport, just swivel around a little bit, you can sort of see where that line is sitting. So we can see we're going to have a bit of fill, but we're also going to have a bit of cut. So that's what we're exploring this week. So now you could go ahead and extrude it and use the Boolean cut the way we did in class. But I just want to show you something else quickly, that instead of using the extrude option, let's try using the bevel option. So on your modify tab, under your modify list, you pull down your list, you'll find there's the bevel option. Now this is similar to extrude, but it gives you some extra options for creating a slope effectively. So if we move down to bevel values, we have a height of level 1. That's like our extrude option. So let's say bevel that up by 5. So that's your basic extrude, but we can now actually extend it out as well. So let's say 15. Okay, now that's created a pretty big slope. But that's really what we're looking at, what we want to do, because if you think about it, if we're extending it up by 5 and out by 15, that's creating a 1 to 3 slope. So before we go on, one step I should have done was to clone this. So let's just quickly do that. Edit, clone. We're just going to make a copy and do what we did in class. I'm going to go ahead and make a compound object. So we go back to our objects, compound objects, pro Boolean, set that to subtraction, and we start picking. And so I picked that object. We can't see our cut because I cloned it. But first, so I'll go back to this one, and now I'm going to change that to being -5. So now we can see what's happened. We cut that 1 to 3 slope, and now we've also filled a 1 to 3 slope. If I made that outline 20, that means we'd have a 1 to 4 slope for fill and 1 to 3 slope for cut. We probably want to change its color, but we'll just leave it for now so we can see what's going on. If we now go back to our Farnsworth model and lift it up a little bit, so it's actually sitting properly on that platform. So we've created a platform with 1 to 3 cut and 1 to 4 fill. So now you can explore using that technique a little bit more to create your own designs. So the next thing I'll look at is actually using those that line tool to create a ramp.